I have realized that I'm about 5 months too late with this video review, but then again, this is only my fifth straight up video review. That's quite ironic, but considering the current global situation, I reckon simply talking about random movies does sort of make sense. So let's randomly talk about underwater. Not talking about being underwater, but talking about a movie called Underwater. A deep-sea drilling station is suddenly hit by a massive earthquake, and the crew on board find themselves having to get to safety, as well as having to deal with a set of mysterious creatures and a constant lack of oxygen. And that's basically the best way to sum up Underwater, as this very simple situation thriller featuring this crew trying to get to safety after the facility gets hit by a massive earthquake. And on top of having to deal with a constant lack of oxygen, they also have to deal with a bunch of creepy ghouls that emerge from the Marianna Trench. And this film doesn't waste time getting started. I mean, only 2 minutes in, and the action starts. The earthquake hits. The crew is trying to get to safety. You're in it because the tension's there, the suspense is there, the constant sense of dread is there. And usually with this type of film, you expect it to kind of drag around the second act and maybe pick up again around the third act. There is never a moment that drags out. This film is consistently moving along. And the production value and the set design are all top quality, as well as the creature design. Although I have to admit, the first time I saw one of the creatures, I was thinking of H.P. Lovecraft. This film definitely has a Lovecraft influence, which would probably be one of the few cases where you have a monster movie mainly influenced by H.P. Lovecraft, especially when you see the main creature. That will definitely remind you of a particular figure in Lovecraft fiction. So I urge Lovecraft fans to basically see this film and basically come back and say, who does that main creature remind you of? Now, of course, this is a very good movie, but not perfect as any other movie. The main problem is one of the characters. Now, the character development is actually paper thin. You don't really get to know much about them, but you get behind these characters mainly based on this situation. One of the characters is a character named Paul, played by TJ Miller, who is basically supposed to be the comic relief, but I'm not sure what kind of humor they were going for, but he's never funny. He's more weird than funny because oftentimes he says the dumbest shit in this kind of situation. And every time he talks, it's as if the tone that the film establishes really well goes from here to here. And then when he stops talking, it builds up again. He talks again and it comes down again. He just says really silly stuff, and his overall behavior doesn't even make any sense. And then when it comes to some of the kills, the editing can get really chaotic sometimes, where a character got grabbed by something, and something's happening, but it goes between clips and shots so fast you can't exactly process what is happening. You don't even know which character got grabbed. And it's only after they say what happened, then you realize, oh, it would have been nice to see, though. And another problem a film like this faces, as many of the others who pick up quick and develop their characters on the go, with Underwater, the character development is actually extremely minimal. But a film like this also runs the risk of having any character development it makes an attempt at feel very tacked on, and you get it here. The development they try to give the characters is very small, but it does kind of feel tacked on. It kind of felt like it would have worked if they presented this a lot earlier in the film instead of much later. Especially with Kristen Stewart's character, they actually expand on her background more in the third act. And I thought this would have been better to know in the early stages of the film instead of so late. And now I would admit I enjoyed this film very much. It was a fun time, but it could have been better if the character development wasn't so thin, or if the character development that was present what didn't feel a little bit tacked on. This film actually had a lot going for it. There are some instances where you have a character doing something that doesn't make sense. Like, for instance, you have one character who, despite getting out of danger, and suddenly decides to take a shower despite having fellow crew members still outside. I first reckon the logic behind that sort of action was that this character was in a state of shock and was probably trying to get her thoughts together, and maybe taking a shower would have helped. I don't know. It's a weird sense of logic. As a whole, if you're a fan of these underwater monster movies, such as some of the films that came out back in the 80s, like Deep Star 6, The Abyss, and Leviathan, give this one a try. Although the character development is thin, it's a fun time. It could have been better a little bit, but because it had a lot going for it already. But overall, I would recommend this film to any fan of underwater monster movies. It's definitely worth seeing, and for Lovecraft fans, if you see the creature, let me know who it reminds you of. Overall, I would give this film a 5.7 out of 10. So, have you guys seen Underwater, and what did you think about it? Did you like it more? Did you like it less? And tell me, what is your favorite monster movie that could have been influenced by H.P. Lovecraft or the works of H.P. Lovecraft? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like this video review, be sure to subscribe and click the bell to stay up to date. And be sure to hit that like button to express your approval, and I would really appreciate it. And until next time, I will see you guys later.